Now you can search every story, video, and slideshow from WRAL.com on the WRAL News app. We've updated the app with larger headlines and images and more weather graphics. Get all the new features when you update your WRAL News app.
The WRAL Out and About app is your guide to what's happening. Search based on your location for entertainment, dining, and weekend events. Then get directions by foot, car, even rickshaw. Don't go out and about without it.
Covering your community for 60 years, this is WRAL News with Linda Loveland, Gerald Owens, and meteorologist Mike Mays.
Right now on WRAL, the investigation continues into this weekend's deadly shooting of an airman stationed at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. 32-year-old Ryan Morgan was shot and killed in a parking lot.
Police aren't sure what led to the shooting. WRAL's Julia Sims is live in Goldsboro with the latest on the investigation. Julia?
Gerald, Ryan Morgan's family says he served 3 tours in Iraq. Now Goldsboro police are trying to figure out who gunned him down here at home. Morgan, who was originally from Alabama, had been stationed at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base since 2013. Police say he just left the Rail House Bar and Grill early Sunday morning when he was shot on North Center Street. That's right in the heart of downtown Goldsboro. Today, officers canvassed surrounding businesses to see if the incident may have been caught on any surveillance cameras. Emily Dupree was at the bar the very same
on the WRAL.com homepage.
By the time you get back from the morning drag, Elizabeth has another custom town-by-town forecast just for you. Weather every 10 minutes with Elizabeth Gardner. Mornings 4:30 to 7, only WRAL News.
Health officials are warning people not to eat raw cookie dough or batter. This follows a flour
right from your phone directly to the WRAL newsroom. Download the WRAL News app for iPhone or Android.
Before you shop, become a smart shopper. Learn how to find the best weekly deals on meat, eggs, milk, and more. Plus printable coupons, BOGO deals, meals on a budget, and freebies. Find Smart Shopper on the WRAL.com homepage.
Mike Mays and WRAL Weather, the most experienced team of meteorologists in North Carolina.
Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll be live in Durham, where a large sinkhole closed this road for at least a month. Weather may have caused it, but that doesn't make it any easier for drivers. The latest on the detours at 5. Unemployment is getting better in the Triangle, but not for many of our neighbors. In Wilson County, the rate is now around 8%. WRAL's Brian Schrader found out there are plenty of jobs, but people are having trouble landing them. And it's almost time for the Olympics, yet we have a story about extreme eating. The health team's Dr. Alan Mask has a story you don't want to miss. All this beginning at 5.
actually looks pretty good.
It did.
Retail experts have picked Just days before the Summer Games in Rio, the results of a study on Rio's water quality have been released. The 16-month study was commissioned by the Associated Press.
And WRAL is your home for the Summer Olympics. Deborah Morgan, Renee Chu, and Jeff Gravely just landed in Rio. Join us for live coverage beginning Thursday. They'll bring you stories with North Carolina connections and other headlines from the Summer Games. It's coverage you will only see on WRAL.
The excitement is building. Most high schools are still weeks away from returning to class, but high school athletes are already back on the field. It is August 1st. That means high school football practice starts today. Some teams got in workouts around midnight, taking advantage of every minute. Check out highschoolot.com for full day coverage all day.
Imagine driving down the road and running into this, a massive sinkhole. Hear from a driver who did just that.
I just told God, I said, God, don't let me die like this.
And the winners of the Extreme Eating Awards. We reveal which restaurant favorites have a shockingly high calorie count.
Focused on people and community for 60 years, we promise a relentless pursuit of excellence. This is WRAL News.
Well, just as we had expected, the heat has backed off, but storms are still popping up. Good afternoon. I'm David Crabtree.
I'm Linda Loveland. Deborah Morgan is on assignment in Rio. Gloomy skies and stormy weather today. Meteorologist Mike Mays joins us now with the details. Mike.
Linda, I don't think we're going to see a repeat of the thunderstorms we saw kick up around the Triangle last evening. Remember all the heavy rain, the lightning from Chatham County up to Durham and Orange counties and here in Wake County as well. That it's not going to be repeated. Let's take a look at the radar view. It's in our southern counties where we've seen that develop this afternoon. You can't help but notice all the flashing lightning strikes in our southern counties. We'll venture there and we'll zoom in, start in the Sand Hills, and from Richmond and Scotland counties through southern Moore County, you folks in Seven Lakes, Southern Pines, Whispering Pines, Pine Bluff getting hit by a thunderstorm. That's moving to the east, Hope County, Cumberland County, Southern Harnett County. And notice there's really no northward climb to this activity, so it's generally moving from west to east, but we're seeing little outflow boundaries come out of these, and they're heading north, so that could help develop some storms around Wake County over the next hour or so. More activity for your folks watching from Johnston County, Sampson County, Wayne County, especially around Grantham and near Brogden in southern Wayne County. You're going to get rocked by a thunderstorm. In fact, already some locations are. That continues to move to the east as well, but up here in the Triangle, we're not having the support to develop widespread storms like we had yesterday, but I think that's going to change tomorrow. Now, here's the risk for severe storms. We see the dark shade in green. It's on the low end of the scale, marginal risk, damaging winds, small hail, and if there's to be any flooding, it would be more localized than what we saw around here yesterday. There's a front coming in from the north, and I think that will be responsible, I should say, for developing thunderstorms on a more widespread basis tomorrow. We'll talk more about that coming up in the forecast. Linda?
All right. Thank you, Mike.
Lucky to be alive. That's how a Durham man feels after his SUV fell into a massive sinkhole that opened up in a street following a lot of rain. Glen Road crumbled near East Club Road, opening a hole that was at least 15 feet deep. At least 3 accidents occurred before the road was closed. Ariel Clay talked with 2 drivers who were involved. Ariel?
Well, David, in the daylight, you may think, how could you possibly miss a hole this?
I'm not a criminal. I'm just a dude that likes to skateboard. That's all.
Wake County's newest skate park, and why these teens can thank a police officer for a place to show off their tricks.
It's the
Some bad news for Game of Thrones fans. It has some notable authors, and tonight our Tar Heel Traveler sits down with one of them.
We find Scott Mason in Wilmington with a writer who shares some stories, some music, and some laughs.
Wilmington is home to a well-known North Carolina writer whose Southern-style stories seem to ring true.
I fell through here before I had a chance to do the dishes.
Clyde Edgerton types another novel.
Would you wash my dishes?
Before walking across Egypt, young Clyde spent time in a little town.
6 miles out of Durham, North Carolina, in the 50s.
He was an only child with a big family.
I had 23 aunts and uncles, so I spent a lot of time listening to conversations.
Funny conversations.
You're the dog catcher, aren't you?
You're the successful writer, aren't you?
I stumbled a lot for a long time.
Like a Bible salesman at an atheist convention. But then, Piccadilly, inspiration hit.
Suddenly, as if a sledgehammer had hit me in a way, in a good way, recognizing that there was so much drama, so much to write about in my own family, my own growing up.
I don't know.
He didn't know if he'd ever be published when he started submitting stories in the late 70s. He racked up 200 rejection letters.
And there were 6 acceptances, 3 by friends, and 3 for magazines that were put together with staples.
But he grit his teeth and kept at it.
I knew I was on the verge of hitting it or dying.
Killer Diller.
Finally, I get this envelope, and there is a 2-page letter with this editor saying, "I like your story."
Rainey, published 1985. The writer does use a keyboard, but often prefers the typewriter.
And get here where you pull out one page and put it down.
And before long, the pages produce a notebook.
I'm trying to make big people little and little people big. There's a little bit of a jab in there, making big people little.
Trouble.
I could say I'm trying to make little people big and leave out the big people little.
Clyde Edgerton seems to have struck the right tone. He's written more than a dozen books. He received a prestigious Guggenheim Fellowship and teaches creative writing at UNC Wilmington. He plays music and also paints.
There was often a pause when nothing moved, not even time.
So what's the moral of the story?
The moral of the story. That's a good question. I should have thought of that before I wrote the book.
Love the accent. Clyde Edgerton remembers the exact day that he decided to become a writer. It was back in 1978, the day after he saw Eudora Welty reading one of her stories on television. Eudora Welty was a famous Southern writer who inspired Edgerton to become one himself. Coming up in our next half hour, developments after the latest notice of allegations to UNC Chapel Hill, when the school plans to publicly release its response to the NCAA. Our news at 6 starts now.
Focused on people and community for 60 years, we promise a relentless pursuit of excellence. This is WRAL News.
The NBA All-Star Game, musicians pull the plug on future concerts, and businesses decided against coming to North Carolina, all because of House Bill 2. Good evening.
Thunderstorms this afternoon have been focused on our southern counties. You can see that on the radar. Take a look. That'll change tomorrow, though. And coming up in the forecast, we'll take a look at the likelihood you'll get wet over the next couple of days. Stay with us.
Mike's father died.
Download the new and improved High School OT app.
And this week, as we start August, the heat's not all that bad. It's still hot, but it could be a whole lot worse. Let's take a look at the radar view. We've been watching this all afternoon. Thunderstorms have been firing up in our southern counties, and that's where they primarily have been residing. And notice the general trend is for the thunderstorms and showers to die down once we lose the heating of the day. A lot of this activity may die off. Now, there is still the possibility of a stray shower or a thunderstorm overnight, but you can watch the general trend moving through Harnett County, Moore County, Cumberland County. Over the last hour, we're losing the reds and oranges and basically some greens and yellows showing up, which is depicting some lighter rain. And then we still have our outflow boundary moving through southern Chatham County, southern Wake County, northern Johnston County, watching and waiting to see if that would develop any showers. Sometimes outflow boundaries develop showers and thunderstorms. So far, this one has not. And there's a small risk for strong to severe storms south and east of Raleigh. We've only seen one severe thunderstorm warning. That was earlier this afternoon in Onslow County. But at least through 8 or 9 o'clock, we're not going to rule out a strong storm. Maybe some small hail, perhaps some heavy rainfall. But again, that has not really been seen. Durham SKYCAM, it is quiet out of the DBAP tonight. It will be quiet again tomorrow, but by Wednesday, we have Bark in the Park. It's the third one of the season. You can bring your doggie with you. It's $5 per dog, but it goes to Second Chance Pet Adoptions, so it's a great cause. Have your dog with you. The heat won't be all that bad. It'll likely be mostly cloudy, and there is a chance for rain during the evening on Wednesday, which we'll talk about in greater detail in the days ahead. 90 at RDU after 91. The dew point 73. Yeah, it's humid out there. Yeah, it feels very uncomfortable. It's still summer, but it is not as bad as last week. 85 right now in Henderson, 88 in Chapel Hill, Lewisburg, likewise. Farther south, cooler numbers, 81 at Fayetteville, 80 at Irwin, 82 at Smithfield because of cloud cover and some showers and storms. It's 75 at Clinton, 75 right now at Goldsboro. And you can see on the satellite radar picture how those storms fire up. Tomorrow, we have a front coming in from the north, and you can actually see the line of clouds which depicts where the front's located. That should sag to the south. By Wednesday be upon us, and then Thursday be to our south. So with the addition of cloud cover and showers and storms, the highs in the coming days should be reduced. So we look at rainfall probabilities through the evening, the single-digit numbers showing up, but overnight it bounces up a bit. So we're not going to rule out a shower or thunderstorm late tonight, 2, 3, 4 a.m. Not going to be widespread. We should start dry in the morning with partly to mostly cloudy skies. By lunchtime, about a 40% chance of rain, 60% by 4 o'clock. The chance for showers and thunderstorms continues into the evening. Low probabilities overnight Tuesday into Wednesday morning, which means we can't rule out a shower overnight. By 8 a.m., the probabilities on Wednesday jump to 40%. By lunchtime, 50-50, and that's where it should stay during the afternoon. So Wednesday might end up being an unsettled day with that front upon us. Can't rule out a shower or storm by 8 o'clock. Variably cloudy otherwise. More clouds to the south with 83 here in the Triangle. Low to mid 70s overnight. A stray shower or a thunderstorm cannot be ruled out. Will not be widespread. Will not be severe. Tomorrow morning, a mix of sun and clouds. It's a muggy start. 76 by 8 a.m. Lunchtime, we'll call it mostly to variably cloudy. Some storms forming at that point. Elizabeth will be here at noon to show you that on the radar if you tune in at noon tomorrow. 84 at lunchtime, mid to upper 80s to maybe 90 at Fayetteville. Should have far more clouds, far more coverage of showers and storms. Likewise for Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, we're still in the 80s. And by the coming weekend, we should be back into the 90s with fewer storms around. So heat not all that bad in the coming days.
Not at all.
Doing